You all know me. I'm a massive fan of Bitcoin, but I want to say right at the beginning of this video, this next bull market, what I think is going to happen in the altcoin space, the altcoin market, it is going to be so big. There is such opportunity there. And in this video, I want to break it down on the charts, but I also want to just explain why this is. This is Bitcoin chart. It's been so good to us, especially from a data perspective. Whether you hold Bitcoin or you don't hold Bitcoin, this chart has been the absolute roadmap for crypto people, crypto investors, enthusiasts. This has been the roadmap throughout these cycles, and it is still on pace and consistent. But I want to break down altcoins. I'm going to go over a bunch of altcoins in this video. Just look at some charts for context. Cardano, Ethereum, AVAX, Solana, XRP. I'm going to look at some of these charts as those stories integrate into the bigger story here. That's this Bitcoin chart. This is Bitcoin zoomed out. This is a chart that I charted back here, and I charted it back in 2018. The cycles, as I said, are remaining consistent. Now, what happens in this next cycle for Bitcoin will be massive. Don't get me wrong. But what happens alongside this as it pertains to altcoins, I think will be bigger. I think it will be bigger. So I want to start here on the Bitcoin dominance chart just for some context in case you haven't seen. There's cryptos pumping. I'm just going to pull one up right now. This is AVAX. AVAX just hitting a target very quickly. This is a macro target. This is going back, this upper trend line, to August 2022. This is over a year-long trend line, and it just hit its target within weeks. This is absolutely explosive growth. Now, this vibe that this is bringing to the crypto space right now is very much like, man, alt season is here. Alt season is here. I just want to say emphatically, we're not even in alt season. We're not even in altcoin season. And so this is one reason that plays into this opinion of mine that the next altcoin season, next bull market, is going to be so big. Going back here to this chart, this is Bitcoin dominance chart. I've tweeted a lot about Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance is not dominating. This is October 30th. And the reason why I said that is because if you zoom in on the Bitcoin dominance chart, right, let's zoom in, you can see Bitcoin dominance, it looks like it's been dominating. 39% up to around 53% now. But it's not dominating when you zoom out on a Bitcoin dominance chart. And this is the bigger story that's going on right now. And I want to say institutional money getting ready to flood the markets, getting ready to flood Bitcoin. The Bitcoin spot ETF narrative is so big, it's going to bring in so much money to Bitcoin. But I also just want to say this, especially coming from my perspective as running a recruiting firm in the crypto space for startups. Do you know how much VC money is flooding in and has been flooding into crypto more and more over the years? There is huge, massive amounts of money coming into crypto. And you better believe VCs don't want to see these projects fail. VCs want to see the space grow. So that's the innovation side. That's enterprise building on top of other things other than Bitcoin. And so when you see a chart like this, Bitcoin dominance has been falling through the cycles. That's one piece of data. But understanding why it's happening outside of just, hey, price and new random cryptos popping up online, there's a ton of money and businesses building and looking to build in the crypto space. And with that will come altcoin dominance. And with altcoin dominance will come BTC dominance simply falling. It doesn't mean Bitcoin is not a good opportunity. It doesn't mean Bitcoin is worthless or becoming worth less. It's just altcoin dominance, it's gaining market share. And it's because of VCs and projects that are building and just people like you and I out there that want to get in on these projects, right? Now, putting that aside, institutions will likely flood into, and we see it happening with ETH, right? Ethereum spot ETF. You think that's going to stop at Ethereum? It's not. I highly doubt that it will stop with Ethereum. This will trickle into the broader altcoin market, and money as a whole will flow into crypto as a whole. So Bitcoin dominance has been falling. And so what I want to talk about is the very fact, right now, altcoins like AVAX, Solana, they're pumping. Cardano, even Ethereum, right? Ethereum on a lower scale. They've been pumping, but I want to show you before we look at these altcoins where alt season really is. They've been pumping right now, right? But this isn't alt season. This is not alt season. Historically, and I've mentioned this before, these white lines are the Bitcoin halvings, and this is where we are. Bitcoin halving of 2020. Here's 2016, and just look how, and it's ironic to think, but at Bitcoin halving, Bitcoin falls in dominance, right? So here's 2016, 98% going into 2016 halving. It just starts falling. And then the bull market starts. And these green boxes are the bull markets for Bitcoin and crypto. But look what Bitcoin does versus the altcoin market in bull markets. It falls. So post-halving bull market, Bitcoin dominance falls. Post-halving in 2020, in the bull market, this is where the bull market is, right? So we're looking at November. Remember Bitcoin breaking the bull market doors, November of 2020. Here it is. There it is happening. Bitcoin looking nice on this chart in the bull market. Bitcoin price versus USD looking real nice. But Bitcoin dominance, not looking too nice. Shortly after, it tops out and starts falling in the bull market, right? So there's that bull market. And then here we are. Right now, there's this essence throughout the air in crypto. We're in alt season because alt seasons are just doing really well. But just look at this. We're not even at the Bitcoin halving yet. We're not even post-halving. And in my view, we're not even in the bull market yet. We're not even in that phase of the bull market that people truly are waiting for. And where alt season, I think, will truly begin. Now, Bitcoin dominance, the spot ETF in the next month, if it gets approved, this might actually cruise to the upside one more time before topping out. But just notice the trend. It's lower highs. So the point is, now let's go look at some of these altcoins. Here's Cardano we'll talk about for a minute. The point of my that I'm trying to make here is this move that we're seeing in altcoins is like, it's the pivot. It's the pivot point that's much needed. And I think it's happening in a much powerful way this cycle around. That's kind of what I want to demonstrate. Cardano is a good example, actually, of what this looks like, because on something like Cardano versus AVAX, Cardano has more charting data, and Ethereum as well. But check out this Cardano chart. And if you've been watching my Cardano videos, you know I've mentioned this. But in terms of where we are this cycle, post this red box, prior to halving, this move that's been happening on Cardano compared to where we were at this time last cycle, this is massive, right? And then I'm starting to look at different indicators. This is a Lux Algo change of character indicator that went off right here in the middle of this red rectangle, this cycle around. Look how long it took for this type of indicator to go off last cycle. It was at the Bitcoin halving. And what's so interesting about that to me on this chart is the very fact that the move that Cardano is making right now out of this lower high upper trend line right now, that move is the move basically that happened at Bitcoin halving last cycle. This is happening earlier. And I think that speaks to the fact that Bitcoin dominance is not dominating. It's a lower high on the macro. You go to something like AVAX. So AVAX prior to the halving, and this is the point with AVAX, where prior to the halving is making this huge power move, breaking previous highs, and getting ready to go into this bull cycle. Now, with this will come retracements. I generally like to follow this rule, which is to say, when things get so hype, right, overbought, like they are on this chart, it's time just to be careful. A target has been hit, right? People are really just hype about alt season, which I don't think is here yet. And there's going to be a time where it needs to retrace. But just look at what is happening. This chart, this is February 2021, AVAX kind of topping out in this very similar price point, momentum, very similar area. But if we go to a Bitcoin dominance chart, February 2021, if we kind of just zoom out a little bit and look for February 2021, right here, you can see February 2021, what is happening on the Bitcoin dominance chart. And let me just clean this up a little bit. On the Bitcoin dominance chart, Bitcoin getting ready to fall, right? In the middle of the bull market, which is exactly my point. AVAX, the similar move that's happening right now, and we're not even post-halving in the next bull market. It's happening that early. And that's the power of altcoins right now. Now, there will be consolidations. I think I'm quite positive along the way, and they might be drastic, right? These throwbacks could be huge, but they're happening not in the middle of a bull market, like right back here. They're happening before the Bitcoin halving even starts. Do you realize how early this is happening, this pivot into the next bull cycle, into the alt season? And that is to say, the opportunity for upside for altcoins like AVAX is massive. Solana, the same exact thing. Not a ton of data on this chart, but Solana just making such a power move to the upside, hitting a macro target quite quickly, right? There wasn't like a break up and then trickling back down, hitting trend line, and then maybe breaking to the target at Bitcoin halving. This thing just went right to the target. Early is my point. XRP has not moved very much, and people are probably getting a little irritated with that if you're an XRP holder. But I want to say this: XRP has this vibe of a crypto where it kind of consolidates for a while. It's very similar to Cardano in that regard, and then all of a sudden is a power move out of nowhere. And this is XRP's first bull cycle back, where it has this regulatory clarity. It was ruled not a security. Do you know how big that is for XRP? All of these different cryptos have their own narrative. They have their own uniqueness. And I think that is what makes each one special going into the next cycle. But again, XRP, we're not even having yet. The next cycle for XRP, I think, will be also massive. I want to just put this out there because I was just looking at this as I prepared the video. You go to Ethereum, and this helps me kind of gauge my risk tolerance and allocation across these markets. The older, more mature blockchains, they're not seeing as crazy gains. So you look at Ethereum from this swing low back here to where it is right now is up like 45%. We go to something like Ethereum, which you all know I'm a huge fan of, but let's be real. Cardano up around 150, 160%. So not surprisingly, outperforming Ethereum, but these charts that don't have as much history, kind of like Cardano last cycle, not surprising. Look at this. AVAX up 400%. Go to Solana. They're up from the swing low. Solana's up 330%. Look at the gains kind of perspective and look how it's spread out and the diversification of these cryptos based on kind of narratives and length of time they've been around. I think that's so interesting to me. And I think that's one little piece of data that could truly be just brought into play when anybody's sitting down and saying, you know what, how do I want to spread out my risk exposure in these markets? Looking at this is so crucial and huge. Looking at the reality of the data in front of us. At the end of the day, though, everybody, all of these altcoins, Ethereum included, they are set up, Cardano included, they are set up for the next bull market in such a way that I don't think we've really seen because of the power moves that we're getting earlier this cycle, months earlier this cycle around. And again, this does not come without downside. I think as these charts become overbought, they're all overbought. And I'm on the weekly charts here. Look at this. Solana's been hanging overbought. Could it go higher? Yeah. Because there's such a powerful altcoin play, I think, in the markets, I think it's always a good idea to anticipate downside. So I just wanted to put this out there, just the general zoomed out perspective on Bitcoin dominance and what's really happening in these cycles. A lot of people are hype about altcoins right now, rightfully so. That's the whole point of this video. But the major point is we're not even, don't even know what chart I just went to. We're not even in alt season. And that's the big point here. And here's the total market cap chart zoomed out. This is what I think is in store. What altcoins do on this journey? I think it's going to be powerful. So everybody, I hope you're having a good weekend so far. If you're not a subscriber, please hit the subscribe, turn notifications on. And if you're out there, I just appreciate you. I appreciate you watching, especially to the end if you're still watching. So have an awesome weekend. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.